Today on Wednesday Wisdom, we find ourselves at the Ark encounter here in Kentucky. And I know going through 2 Timothy, you might think, man, that's a strange place to be, Chuck. But it just so happened that my wife and I are on the way back from some quality time together, and this is where we found ourselves today. And I believe that God puts us in places for a reason. And when I came to the Ark encounter today, I got to thinking about the verse I'm going to be talking about today from 2 Timothy, and that is verse 8. And it talks about a crown of righteousness. And thinking through the Ark and my encounter here at the Ark and Noah, I went back to Genesis and kind of read through the story of Noah real quick. And in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9, it says this: Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. And I just thought it was interesting that today we had that dual subject in two different places in the Bible of righteousness and talking about that crown of righteousness Paul's telling us about. Let me now read the verse from 2 Timothy. And now the prize awaits me, the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on the day of his return. And the prize is not just for me, but for all who eagerly look forward to this appearing. And I thought it was so cool, the contrast between the story of Noah and how Noah and his righteousness saved him through the building of this ark. But it was only for him and his family. And what Paul tells us here is he's looking forward to the return of Jesus because that's for everyone. And it's like, how did we get here? From Noah, who had to prove he was righteous, for God to save only him from the whole entire world and give him this ark, which is ark is another word for vessel, to save himself from this great flood of all this destruction. And now jump forward to Paul telling us about the day when Jesus will return. And Jesus, to me, is also an ark or a vessel. He's going to save all of us because we're all saved in that love of Jesus. And it's talking about righteousness. And how are we made righteous? I mean, we can try as hard as we want day after day to live a life of righteousness. But I don't know about you, but myself, I always fall short. And I think most of you do too. And you know what? If we look back, Noah near the end of his life, he fell short as well. So how are we made righteous? We're made righteous by putting on that crown, by trusting in Jesus, putting our faith. If we go back to what Jason talked about last week, that race, right? We're all in this race. But Paul finishes talking. He says, I've finished the race and I've remained faithful. So the race is all about being faithful and remaining faithful. Faithful, that simply means full of faith. Well, if I'm full of faith and I trust Jesus, then I can count on what Paul's telling me here is that I'm going to get a crown too. And you can get a crown too. All we have to do is remain faithful in Jesus. Put ourselves in that vessel of Jesus. Put ourselves in that ark. And he will save us. That's what it's all about. And I just thought it was so cool how it just so happened that I was here today. And we're talking about righteousness and being saved through a vessel, basically, and our vessel is Jesus. And I think of that crown of righteousness. The thing that comes to my head is the Lord of the Rings. If you ever seen that movie, anybody that puts on that one ring just disappears. And that is what it's like when we put on Jesus. God sees Jesus, not us. We put on that crown and we disappear. It's only Jesus that gets seen because we trust in Jesus that much. And we know that he's got us covered by his finished work on the cross. And that's where I want to leave it today. Heading into Thanksgiving, I'm so thankful that Jesus gives us that opportunity that we can just trust him and have eternal life and happiness in God's glory every day. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. I hope you're with your friends, your family, and we will catch you next week on Wednesday Wisdom.